One of my roles I am proud of to serve as the liaison to the Monmouth County Park System. Mount Mitchell is one of the most unique parks we have here in Monmouth County. In addition to being home of the county's 9/11 memorial behind me, it carries the weight of history and the memory of those we lost 24 years ago. Throughout the park, the memorial space, and the countless tributes to those we've lost, and how we as a nation stood tall in the face of unspeakable tragedy. In 2002, the Monmouth County 9/11 Committee formed and began making plans for a fitting tribute to the victims, heroes, and events of September 11th. And the county's 9/11 memorial was dedicated in 2005. The Monmouth County 9/11 Memorial has three symbolic components: a timeline walkway to recollect the day's events, a stone-carved base with the names, ages, and hometowns of the county residents who've lost their lives, and an eagle sculpture with the beam from one of the fallen towers. Throughout the memorial, there are tributes to the tragedy and display of heroics that were on September 11th, 2001.
There's nothing to prepare. We know what happened that day. We know the tragedies. We all know where we were. We all know how we were impacted. We all know how we feel today. Times have changed over the 24 years. The one thing that can never change, however our values might be, is togetherness, that we have to be. We have to continue to be strong. We have to continue to remember. We have to continue to never forget. And I'm so very proud of my county, our county that we live in, taking the initiative, and this is our third year, of taking a day of remembrance in our county with our county workers so they could share, hopefully attend different events through the county, teach their loved ones, hopefully our children being taught about this tragic day that impacted so many people. I've reached out, and I will continue to reach out to our federal government, to our state government, to make this a day of remembrance. This was a day that changed the world and many lives. And I know here, inside this little outside area and venue that we have family members that were impacted. We have friends that were impacted. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you that has had a personal impact to you to please stand so we could take a moment of silence. Lastly, I will also want to take a moment of silence to remember our Commissioner Lillian Berry that passed, that it was extremely impactful to this ceremony for many, many years. So we will also take a moment of silence for that. So continue year in and year after to remember the county, officials, our administration, our workers will continue to never forget. I want to thank each and every one that are here today to share this experience. Let's grow on this experience. And we can only do that by the education of the impact that we all had that day. Whether it was close to you or not, an individual, it changed all of our lives. Monmouth County lost 147 of our residents. To honor them and to remember them, we will read each and every one of their names, and this will be by our Monmouth County Parks Board of Commissioners. Please.
Daniel
Afilito, Joe Aguiar Jr., Christopher E. Allingham, Lorraine Antigua, Peter Paul Apollo, Michael G. Arzinski, Louis F. Aversano Jr., Paul Vincent Barbaro, W. David Bauer Jr., Jane S. Beatty, Stephen Berger, Donna Bernards Kearns, Timothy D. Betterly, Lawrence Francis Bousseau, Alfred J. Braca, Ronald Brightweiser, Edward A. Brennan III, Patrick Joseph Busey, Dominic E. Callia, Stephen J. Cangelosi, John Francis Casaza, William Otto Casper, Jason D. Kane, Swede Joseph Chevalier, Keith E. Coleman, Linda M. Colon, Albert Condi, John E. Connolly Jr., Dennis Michael Cook, Dolores Marie Costa, Brian Thomas Cummins, Thomas A. Damaskinos, Michael Allen Davidson, James V. de Blasi Jr., Edward D. Simone III, Michael Jude D'Esposito, Lawrence Patrick Dickinson, Patrick Joseph Driscoll, Michael Egan, Alan Feinberg, Edward Porter Felt, David F. Ferrugio, Stephen J. Fiorelli, Salvatore A. Fumanfredo, Chi Min Fu, Paul James Fermato, Daniel James Gallagher, Salvatore Gitto,
John T. Nazo, Brian F. Goldberg, Christopher S. Gray, John M. Gracioso, Philip T. Gusa, Felicia Hamilton, Frederick K. Hahn, Stuart D. Harris, Mark F. Hemshoot, Patrick A. Hoey, Frederick Joseph Hoffman, Michelle L. Hoffman, Robert Horoho Jr., Thomas F. Hughes Jr., Kathleen Ann Hunt Casey, Virginia May Jablonski, Michael G. Jacobs, Howard L. Kane, Paul H. Keating, James Patrick Ladley, Michael Patrick Lafort, Roseanne P. Lang, Brendan Mark Lang, Ruth Lappin, Anna A. Lafferty, John Joseph Lennon Jr., Edward Hobbs Luckett, Christopher E. Lunder, Michael Cameron Lynch, Gregory J. Malone, James Martello, Charles William Mathers, William A. Matheson, Robert J. Mayo, James Joseph McClary, Colin Richard MacArthur, Michael J. McCabe, Thomas J. McCann, Michael P. McDonald, Keith D. McKeffey, George P. McLaughlin Jr., Edmund M. McNally, Peter T. Milano, Louis Joseph Minervino, Justin John Molisano Jr., John G. Monahan, Dennis Maroney, James Thomas Murphy, John J. Murray, Christopher Newton Carter,
Alphonse Joseph Niedermeyer, Paul R. Nimbley, Robert William O'Shea, Robert E. Parks Jr., Stephen B. Patterson, Todd Douglas Polino, Donald Arthur Peterson, Jean Hoadley Peterson, Colleen Elizabeth Pizzuti, Matthew M. Picerno, Bernard Petronico, Nicholas P. Petrunti, Joseph Plumatalo, John M. Pocher, Gregory M. Preziosi, Edward F. Pullis, Beth A. Quigley, Greg Reedy, Sylvia Resta, John Resta, John Frederick Rhodes, Donald Walter Robertson Jr., Richard Rodriguez, Carmen Milagros Rodriguez, Wendy Alice Rosario Wakeford, Lloyd Daniel Rosenberg, Stephen Rusin, Joseph Francis Sacerdote, Marianne T. Simone, Carl T. Smith Sr., Astrid Elizabeth Sohan, Robert Andrew Spencer, Richard James Stadelberger, Eric A. Stahlman, James J. Strain Jr., George J. Strouch Jr., Robert R. Talhami, Sal E. Thierry, Kenneth F. Tejan, Christopher Traina, Lisa L. Cheratola, Michael P. Tucker, Lance Richard Tumulty, Michael A. Uliano, Anthony Mark Ventura, Glenn James Wall, Michael Henry Way, Alan Wisniewski, Rodney James Wooten.
It's very important that we read these names and we recognize the impact that it had to Monmouth County. And it continues to show how our county will never forget. When we leave here, I'll ask for one exercise from each and every one of you to please write to your current governor, write to the future governor, follow Monmouth County. This needs to be a day of remembrance so that we never forget. I now invite my fellow county officials to join me for the ringing of the bells. The ringing of the bell symbolizes the 7 tragedies of September 11th, 2001. With each ring, we will explain what happened at that fateful moment.
(8:46), Flight 11 hits the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
(9:03 a.m.), Flight 175 hits the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
9:37 a.m., Flight 77 hit the Pentagon.
9:59 a.m., the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed.
10:06 a.m., Flight 93 crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
10:10 a.m., a portion of the Pentagon collapsed.
10:29 a.m., the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed.
Thank you. Please, at this time, please stand to take a moment of silence for everyone that was lost. More now than ever, let's stand together. Let's stand strong. Let's stand strong as a country. Let's stand strong as a state. And we will always stand strong as a county. Here today. When we leave here, each and every person that is here today, obviously will never forget. But we have to pass that on so that everybody remembers. The Reverend Joseph Donnelly, Knights of Columbus Council, 11660 of Highlands, and the Knights of Columbus 4th Degree Color Corps of Monmouth County will now present the flowers at the monument to honor those who are lost. After the flowers are placed, County Park Rangers will raise the American flag to full and then half staff as taps are played. The raising of the American flag by firefighters at Ground Zero on 9/11, which served as a powerful symbol of unity and hope, inspired this tradition. The taps are played to symbolize the final salute to the fallen victims of 9/11. After this, please take a rose and go to the monument and please place it on there. And I thank each and every one of you for being here today and always remembering and never forgetting. Thank you.
This is Brookdale Esports, a national championship caliber program located at Brookdale Community College in Lincroft, New Jersey. Open weekdays 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. to everyone. We offer varsity level competitions, gaming PCs, VR stations, and console rentals. Our state-of-the-art esports arena has it all, from gaming to hosting your next event. Want to find out more information on all we offer? Check out the link below.
Brookdale is national champs, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Veterans Corner segment of the Monmouth in Focus program, a program about the services and functions of Monmouth County government. I'm Sue Kiley, Deputy Director of the Monmouth County Board of County Commissioners and liaison to the Division on Aging, Disabilities, and Veteran Services. Today, we will meet with U.S. Marine Corps veteran Keith Byard of Howell. Thank you for coming, we're anxious to hear your story. I know that you volunteered to join the Marines in '81. What led you to that decision? And what kind of training did they give you?
It's a calling.
I've heard that before.
And it was calling me, God, when I was a little kid.
No kidding.
I had an uncle who was in Vietnam, a Green Beret in Vietnam, my dad who was a paratrooper, and family.
Got it. What kind of training did you get initially?
Marine Corps training? Best in the world.
That's fair enough.
Happy.
Your background as a high school wrestler ended up playing a significant role during your military service. How did wrestling factor into your time in the Marines?
Well, once I got out of high school, went into the Marine Corps to be a Marine, of course. But my wrestling background started kicking in because we were having wrestling matches while we were at our bases on our off time. I had a company commander that kind of recognized maybe he could do more for the Marine Corps by being a wrestler. So I was able to try out for the Camp Pendleton base team, which I did, and became the base champion and the South Pacific champion. And that just qualified me to just try out for the All-Marine Wrestling team at Quantico, Virginia.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Those are quite accomplishments. Looking back on your military service, what are some of the memories that you carry with you about the people you served with or the experiences you shared?
God, the camaraderie ship I miss. I think that was the biggest thing, the camaraderie ship, and I think maybe every veteran will probably say that as well. And the training, of course, was incredible. Those type of things.
Right. How? Tell me how did you change from when you first went in as an inexperienced, guy going into the Marines versus how you came out?
Probably 360 degrees.
That
much of a change, yeah. Because the Marine Corps, they'll tear you down in boot camp, and you're brought up the Marine Corps way. So we all think alike. We all basically look alike.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It takes a lot of energy and courage, I think, to join the Marines. I understand that you reached out to Monmouth County at one time for veterans services. Why did you reach out, and what was the response by the staff?
I reached out because I was having a lot of orthopedic issues just from my time in the Marine Corps, a lot of breaks and fractures and different things that as I started to age, those injuries started to act up. So yes, I had to reach out to my veteran service officer here in Monmouth County, and that experience was amazing. They did everything possible for me to reach the different percentages.
You
that
could say as much as you like about that.
Yeah, they were
wonderful.
incredible. You gotta be patient, and I'm just kind of giving that out to the rest of the veterans. Just be patient, but don't quit, because they're not going to quit. And so if you don't quit, the VSO is definitely not going to quit. Make a call every now and then. Be your own advocate, but they'll guide you on the right path.
Sure. That's
For
great
sure.
advice. It really is. What else can you tell me about the Veteran Services Office in terms of what are the different things that you took advantage of?
Mostly just getting me to the right doctors that I needed through, they'll circle back to the VA, getting me to the right doctors again. Other services, I hadn't had a chance to explore any other services because they have given me everything I needed as far as working to get me better help with all the orthopedic issues.
That's great. I want to go in a different direction. I'm anxious to ask you, because there are young men now that are considering going into the Marines. What motivated you to want to do that? And what can you say to those young men?
what motivated me? Again, it was a calling, so that was the biggest motivation. Wrestling gave me a good base, which means I had discipline going into
Got it, okay.
into the Marine Corps, which is a core thing in the Marine Corps is discipline. And I've already knew how to carry myself. They just buffed it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And again, the Marine Corps team, when we weren't wrestling, we traveled around the country speaking to high school and college students.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, recruiting trips.
Yep.
So being on the team, you had to be a squared away Marine,
Right.
meaning can't get in trouble. And these things I say to anyone going into any branch of service, don't get in trouble. Be a leader.
Yeah.
Lead.
That's important.
Right, and that's one of the biggest things that the Marine Corps is always. We're always looking for leaders. We're all leaders.
Right. Right.
All
right.
leaders.
It's good to know. We have a couple of students in the local high school that are interested, and I'm sure they're going to have a visit at some point or another, help them understand what it means to be a Marine. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience? Because we're going to have to stop in a few minutes.
As far as young men going to any branch of service, make up your mind which branch of service you want to go to. Stick it out. It's not easy, but nothing really is, right? Stay committed, and you'll learn what commitment is and loyalty to your branch of service and to all the services, basically.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. I really enjoyed this time.
Thank you.
It was very good to be able to talk to you and understand a little bit about what motivates the Marines. I have the utmost respect for you.
Thank you.
I think I want to thank you and for joining us and for sharing your experiences. But I think that's all the time we have for today. I wish we had more.
I do too.
But we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.